through contact with a dead body or contact with a dead rodent unless it is fully finished. Fully finished means not only is it ripe and picked from the tree, but that it has been washed off with water. And that is called the concept of machshirin. The water has to have been willfully placed on the food item, and by this deliberate rinsing of the food item with the water, that's considered the completion of the food item. Now it's a full food, and once it's a full food, it can become impure. So that was the underlying idea of our Mishnah. The Mishnah says if somebody slaughters a domesticated animal, a wild animal, or a bird, and no blood comes out, so now it's a kosher slaughter, but because there was no blood, the meat was not mukhshar. The meat was not made able to become impure, and therefore one would be able to eat that meat with hands that are second degree of impurity, shnayim l'tzoma. That was the Mishnah's point. Rabbi Shimon said he disagrees. He thinks that it's not just blood that can make something able to become impure. The shechita itself is machshir. The slaughter itself makes the meat able to become impure. Because since the act of slaughtering is what's permitting it from being aver min achai to being kosher food, so the act of slaughtering also makes it a food. It's now able to become impure. So that was the last point of Rabbi Shimon. So let's look here again on Lamed Vav and Beis. We had today's daf is Lamed Hamid Beis, right? Today's daf is Lamed Vav. So let's look back on Lamed Hamid Beis, where Rabbi Shimon had said, Huchshu b'shchita, the act of the slaughter is what makes the meat able to become impure. Rav Asi said that Rabbi Shimon's idea is that shchita makes it mukhshar. Shchita is what makes it able to become impure, and not blood. So it's not just that he's saying you don't need blood. He's saying that even where you were to have blood, the blood is not what's making it mukhshar. It's the shchita which is what makes it able to become impure. So the Gemara said maybe we can bring a proof to it, because he says Reb Shimon Amar Hukshu b'shchita, maybe b'shchita yes, but blood not. Maybe not. Maybe it just means even shchita. Maybe this is the proof. Rabbi Shimon says to them, is the blood what's machshir? Shchita is what's machshir. Maybe what he meant to say was, is blood alone what's machshir? Shchita also could be machshir. And then the Gemara goes back and forth with some proofs. And ultimately the Gemara says that you can't necessarily prove Rav Asi, but this is the view of Rav Asi, that according to Rav Asi, it's just shchita which is machshir, according to Rabbi Shimon. Okay, so let's start now on Lamed Vav Amud Aleph, at the second line on Lamed Vav Amud
Rabbi,
Aleph.
what does that mean? Animal without blood? No such a thing.
I guess there was such things. There were such things.
How could there is no creature without blood moving
Very
around?
fleshy. The blood's very low.
I don't know, the blood
Maybe
didn't
even
come out of the neck.
one drop of blood
Little
is
blood
a
pressure.
drop,
Maybe the blood was other places, I don't know.
Wow.
Tana de Rabbi Yishmael, we were taught in a brisa from the yeshiva Rabbi Yishmael. Now the third line on Lamed Vav Amud Aleph. The verse says, "V'dam chalalim yishteh," and the blood of dead carcasses he will drink. So that's telling you what is considered blood. What is considered blood is the blood that makes it a halal, that makes it a dead animal. So as Rashi explains, when you slaughter an animal, there are really three bloods. First, there's a little dribble of blood, a drop or two. Then there is a gush of blood, and then there's black blood. The black blood, the third blood that comes out, that's the blood that has the life in it. The other blood does not. So therefore, says Rabbi Yishmael, the verse says, "V'dam chalalim yishteh," the blood of the halal he will drink, prat ledam kiluach. So that's excluding the blood that gushes. She'eno machshir es hazrayim. The animal's not yet a halal when the blood is gushing out. The animal's a halal when the blood is turning black. So that blood is not yet dam chalalim, and therefore that blood doesn't have the ability to be machshir, to rinse a food item and make it able to become impure.
Isn't it then not the first drops of the lifeblood? The Kohen has
Yeah.
So now it's the third blood?
Second.
No, we said the second blood is the blood that's caught for the for Zrikas Hadam, right? But in terms of Dam Chalalim, in terms of Machshirin, it's not yet Dam Chalalim, it's only Dam Chalalim once it's the blood HaMashkir, the blood that is turning black. Yes?
Is there something with Tarot? Let's assume Tapua, and if it's either
Yeah,
forget
absolutely.
anymore. So the meat is making accordingly.
No, Mitz Perot is not fruit. It's not a liquid. Yad Shachatam. Yayin, Dvash, Shemen, Chalav, Tal,
That's the five.
Just because
Dam, and Mayim.
because Dam is one of the
Those are the 7 liquids.
7, five.
Okay, so now we have a discussion. I mean, the whole daf is going to be about this topic of machshirin, about liquids that fall on fruits or seeds or other food items and thereby rinse the items and make them able to become impure. So we just learned a chiddush that in regards to blood, it's only the very end of the blood, the dam chalalim, the blood that's black, that's coming out at the very end after the other bloods have come out. That is considered a mashke, considered a liquid, able to be machshir, able to make things able to become impure. Yeah, question?
Yeah, didn't you use the idea of mashir? I thought it said that not so much that you're happy with the liquid, you're happy with the liquid on the item.
Okay, that's
Like,
true
isn't that our
too.
general thing?
Yeah.
So this is not what's going on here. Meaning here we're just saying the second blood or whatever you're happy because that completes the shechita. But why should that work in terms of being mashir?
We're saying otherwise it's not a blood.
Otherwise it's not.
It's not a liquid. It's not a liquid at all.
can make them.
Blood shouldn't be a liquid, because the way I understand it, blood shouldn't be a liquid. Blood congeals. It shouldn't be a liquid. What makes it into a liquid is this pasuk. The pasuk says, "V'dam chalalim yishteh."
Oh, it's the categories of
So it has to fit into dam chalalim. Dam chalalim is the blood of the halal, of the dead animal. So that, or the dying animal. So the blood of the dying animal, when the animal is a halal, it's already had its life taken out of it. That's dam chalalim.
So we're adding to the category of acceptable liquids. That's
Yeah,
what we're doing.
that's my understanding.
Also, didn't
That's what you were saying, is it?
I
To finish a little bit.
You also wanted that liquid
Right, it's not blood,
intention,
it's not
for the
milk or
benefit
water.
of
You
it.
have to want the liquid there. That's
So,
the trick.
but you don't want the blood necessarily on the.
Apparently he did, otherwise it wouldn't be muhshar. He wanted the blood there.
Okay.
So now the next case. Tana Rabbana, we learned in a braysa. Hashochet, a man is slaughtering. Vihitis, and in the act of slaughtering, he splatters dam al adlas. He splatters blood on gourd. Gourd is butternut squash. So the butternut squash is just picked. And when he's doing the act of slaughtering, he is splattering blood from the neck of the animal onto the butternut squash. So is that considered machshir? Is that machshir the butternut squash? Is that a rinsing of the butternut squash to make the butternut squash now something which could become impure, that if a dead rodent were to fall on it, it would become impure? So Rabbi Amar Huchsha. Rabbi says, yes, the butternut squash has become able to become impure. Rabbi Chia Omer Tolin. Rabbi Chia says we have to wait. In other words, it sounds like we're not sure. We're not sure, so we need to wait till Eliyahu Hanavi to tell us. So Rabbi Oshaya said, we're stuck here. Rabbi says that this is a liquid, the blood that came out during the shechita and splattered on the butternut squash. And the butternut squash is now able to become impure. And if, let's say, the butternut squash was truma, and then this blood splattered on it, and then a dead rodent falls on it, you have to burn it, according to Rabbi. Rabbi Chia Omer Tolin. Rabbi Chia says, we don't know. We don't know if it was muhshar or not. So if it was truma, but it may not have been muhshar, and now a dead rodent falls on it, we wouldn't burn it. So Anami Nismach. So who are we going to rely on? You know, it's one against one. It's Rabbi against Rabbi Chia. So how do we know what the right answer is? So said Rabbi Oshaya, let's bring in a third for you. Rabbi Shimon. Let's come and rely on the views of Rabbi Shimon in our Mishnah. Rabbi Shimon says, as Rav Asi explained yesterday, Shchita machsheres v'lo dam. That shchita is what makes the meat of the animal able to become impure, and not the blood. So according to Rabbi Shimon, blood never makes things muhshar. So what do we have an issue here? Blood splattered on butternut squash. So Rebbe says it is mukhshar. Rebbe Oshaya says he's not convinced that it's mukhshar. Rabbi Shimon would say it's not mukhshar, because Rabbi Shimon would say that blood never makes anything mukhshar. Only the shchita makes the meat able to become impure, but the blood doesn't make anything able to become impure. So now let's add them up. Rabbi Shimon and Rabbi Chia are together. They both think it's not mukhshar. Rabbi thinks it is mukhshar. So let's paskin that it's not mukhshar. Rabbi Shimon shchita machshar lo dam. So Rav Papa said, Hakol Modim, everybody agrees. If the blood came out during the shchita and it stays on the butternut squash from the beginning of shchita till the end of shchita, then everybody agrees it is mukhshar. Because the pasuk says, "V'dam chalalim yishteh," that the blood of the dead animal is yishteh. He'll drink it. It's a liquid. So if the blood goes out in the act of shchita and it stays on the animal, stays on this butternut squash throughout the whole act of shchita, it's dam chalalim, it's dam shchita. Dam shchita is machshir. Everybody agrees this butternut squash could become impure. Ki pligi, where's the argument between Rebbe and Reb Chia? A person slaughtered, he slit the trachea. Blood came out. All the different types of blood came out. There was the first dribble, there was the burst of blood, there was the black blood. All of the bloods came out. Then that blood falls on butternut squash. And he continues with his act of shchita onto the esophagus. He has to slaughter both pipes. And before he can finish the esophagus, in fact, before he got to a majority of the esophagus, somebody came and dried the blood off of the butternut squash. Somebody came with a towel, with a rag, and wiped the blood off of the butternut squash. That's the case. The case is where it was blood that came out of the trachea, but it wasn't on it by the time the shchita was finished. So now this is the argument, but an argument we saw before. What is shchita? Is shchita the entire process from beginning till end? That whole act is called shchita? Or maybe the beginning is just the setup, and shchita is the very end when you get to the majority of the second pipe. So Rebbe holds, Yeshna l'shchita mitchila v'ad sof. Shchita is the whole thing. It is an act of shchita from beginning until end. So therefore, the blood that came out of the trachea is called dam shchita, blood of shchita. Blood of shchita can be machshir, and therefore it is mukhshar. Therefore, the butternut squash can become now impure because it was rinsed with blood of slaughtering. Hai dam, this blood is dam shchita. It's blood of shchita. However, Rabbi Chia is of the opinion, Eina l'shchita el basof. The shchita is the very end. The very end, that's the act of shchita. Till then, it's not an act of shchita. Till then, it's just setup. The act of slaughtering is the very end. Okay, but at the very end already, the blood was gone. It wasn't on it. When was the blood on it? When it was only the trachea slit. When the trachea slit, haidam maku. If it's only the trachea slit, it's not blood of shchita. What is it? It's blood of a wound. The blood of a wound we saw yesterday doesn't have the ability to make something mukhshar l'kabel tuma, to make something able to become impure, because the verse said dam chalalim, the blood of the dead, not the blood of wounds. Yesterday it was called dam magafa. But anyway, dam maka, the blood of a wound is not going to be machshirit. So that's the argument. So again, according to this opinion, according to the view of Rav Papa, here what are we talking about? We're talking about the blood that came from the trachea onto the butternut squash. Before the shochet got to the esophagus, the blood was toweled off of the butternut squash. According to Rebbe, since it's called blood of shchita, because shchita is from beginning till end, therefore it's mukhshar l'kabel tuma. According to Rebbe Chia, since shchita is only at the very end, this is not classified as blood of shchita, it's classified as blood of a wound. Blood of a wound doesn't have the ability to be machshir l'kabel tuma.
But it's also blood of a treifa, because at that point the animal's treifa.
It's not a treifa, because since it's all one act of shchita, it's not a treifa.
But didn't we learn that every animal, kosher animal, is treifa until you do shchita?
No, it's ever min achai. It's a living animal that you can't eat from. But the act of treifa would be if you would have stopped at that point. If you would have stopped at the halfway point, it becomes a treifa. But in the middle of the act, it's not a treifa yet. Yeah, question.
If he wipes it off, doesn't he prove he doesn't want the blood on it? So shouldn't it be that it's not a
I guess he wiped it off, but he did want it. Otherwise,
Somebody else wanted
someone else wiped it off.
somebody else
Who
wants
wants
it
blood on
off.
the board?
He wants it, right? The owner wants it.
Oh,
What's he have to say?
Oh,
So now the Gemara says, let's now plug it into this brisa. Umay tolin. What did Rabbi Chia mean when he says we wait? It means tolin adavar. The matter has to wait ad gmar shchita until we get to the end of the act of slaughtering. And if by the time of the end of the act of slaughtering the blood is still on, then it is dam shchita. If by the end of the act of slaughtering the blood is off, then it's not dam shchita. Dam besof shchita. If the blood is still there at the end of the act of slaughtering machshir, that's blood of shchita. It's called dam chalalim. It makes the butternut squash able to become impure. Low, and if not, lo machshir. It doesn't make it able to become impure. Umay. So what did the Bryce mean when Rabbi Oshia added bo v'nismach al divrei Rabbi Shimon? Let's go rely on Rabbi Shimon. He'll be the deciding vote. Understand, Rabbi Shimon lo machshir. According to Rabbi Shimon, blood is never machshir. According to Rabbi Chia, blood is machshir if it's at the end. Rabbi Chia machshir. According to Rabbi Chia, blood could be machshir at the end. It just can't be machshir in the middle. So I says, okay, that's true, but in this case, where the blood wasn't there at the end, the blood was toweled off in the middle. They're both on the same side of the issue. They have different reasonings, but they're both on the same side. Marlo machshir. According to Rabbi Shimon, the butternut squash is not muchshir because blood can never be machshir. Umarlo machshir. And according to Rabbi Chia, the butternut squash is not muchshar because yeshna l'sfita only basov. The slaughtering is only the very end, and by the time of the end, the blood wasn't there. So this is blood, which is dam maka. This is blood of a wound, and blood of a wound can't be machshir. So therefore, Havale Rabbi Chad, Rabbi who says it is muchshar because he holds yeshna l'shchita mitchila v'ad sof. He says it's all one act of shchita. So it's blood of shchita. It's called blood of chalalim, and therefore it's a liquid. Therefore, it can make it able to become tameh. That's only one vote. We're not going to pass him like one when there are two against him. So that's the explanation of Rav Papa for this price. Okay, what's the idea of tolin? Tolin means we wait till the end of the shchita. Rav Ashi gave a different explanation of the brisa. He says tolin, when the brisa says that according to Rabbi Chia, we wait. Tolin means we're hanging, we're waiting. La'olam mashma. That says that we're waiting forever. We're waiting forever. So what's going on? We're waiting forever. It means like this: Nitkaneach Rabbi Chia, if the blood was toweled off of the butternut squash after it came out of the trachea, before the shochet got to the esophagus, according to Rabbi Chia, sfeika mesafkale. According to Rabbi Chia, that's a suffix. Because Rabbi Chia is not sure about this question of how to define shchita. The suffix of Rabbi Chia is iyesh l'shchita mitchila v'ad sof. Maybe from beginning till end, it's all called an act of shchita. Or maybe shchita is only the very end. So therefore, if shchita would be from beginning till end, this is called dam chalalim, the blood of the dead, because it's all blood of shchita. If shchita is only the very end, it's not called dam chalalim. It would be called dam maka, because this was blood that was there before the very end, and it was toweled off by the time it got to the very end. So, and then it wouldn't be able to be machshir, it wouldn't be able to make the butternut squash able to become impure. So therefore, we're not sure whether slaughter is from beginning till end or slaughter is just at the very end. He is not sure. And therefore, my tone, when he says you have to wait, what does it mean? You wait for Eliyahu Hanavi. So what does it mean? Therefore, if this were to happen, a man is slaughtering, and when slaughtering, blood comes out during the slitting of the trachea, and then the blood is wiped off of the butternut squash, and then then the shochet finishes with the esophagus, and then a dead rodent falls on the butternut squash, and it happens to be butternut squash of truma. So lo ochlin, we're not going to be able to eat it, because maybe it was tameh. Maybe it is tameh. Maybe slaughter is from the beginning. And if slaughtering is from the beginning, this is blood of slaughtering. Blood of slaughtering made the butternut squash able to become tameh. And maybe this is truma, which is tameh. So truma, which is tameh, you can't eat. And then they have a low sarfa. We're not going to burn it, because maybe it's not tameh. Because maybe slaughtering is only at the very end. If slaughtering is at the very end, this is blood that came out at the beginning, when it wasn't slaughtered, when it was only a wound. Blood of a wound is not machshir. So if something which wasn't machshir, wasn't mukhshar, so then even though it's truma and a dead rodent fell in it, it didn't become impure. So lo ochlim lo sarfim. We're not going to eat, we're not going to burn it, we're just going to wait with it. Umay, so what does it mean then? Bo v'nismach al divrei Rabbi Shimon. The Brisa says, okay, we have a conflict. We have Rabbi and we have Rabbi Chia. We don't know who's right. It's one against one. So let's go rely on Rabbi Shimon. I understand. The Rabbi Shimon lo machshir. According to Rabbi Shimon, blood is never machshir. Blood never makes something able to become impure. But according to Rabbi Chia, it's a sveika. It's a suffix. Maybe it does, maybe it isn't in this case. So the question is, okay, it's true that it's not exactly the same position, but there is an overlap in positions. But in regards to burning this truma, which had blood fall on it, which was then toweled off, and then had a rodent fall on it, they're both of the same opinion. Marlo sarfe, Rabbi Shimon wouldn't burn it because he holds it was never made able to become impure because it just had blood on it, and blood does not make something able to become impure. Umarlo sarfe, and Rabbi Chia is not going to burn it because Rabbi Chia is not sure if this blood is blood of chalalim or it's not blood of chalalim. So he's not sure if it was made able to become impure. So again, he's not going to be burning it. So Havale Rebbe Chad. So Rebbe is only a one vote saying burn it. And the vote of one is not going to win when we have two votes against it. This is what it means to say. In a case like this, Tolin, we need to wait till Eliyahu Hanavi. Lo ochlin v'lo sarfin. We can't eat it because maybe it's tamei. Lo sarfin. We can't burn it because maybe it's not tamei. Therefore, we need to wait.
To begin
So
with,
let it
Rabbi,
rot, basically.
Let it rot, exactly.
beginning and the end of Shechita, it takes like a quarter of a second.
Yeah.
So
precision.
So they talk about beginning and end. It just it's not even a time involved here.
It's true.
So
Very short amount of time.
number one, number two, any kind of blood is tamei.
No.
No,
None of the blood is tamei.
why?
What makes the blood tamei?
What? That's why we put so much salt on the meat to.
It's not kosher. We can't eat it. It doesn't have toma necessarily.
That's what I mean by tamei. You know, we
There's a
can't drink
difference.
it.
There's things we can't eat, and then there are things that are tamei.
But if it falls on the butter squash or whatever, so we could wash it off and peel it off and eat the butter squash. What's the big deal about that?
You could, unless you're a Kohen and you have to watch laws of impurity. Not always.
I mean, like if it falls on an orange and you could peel it off afterwards and eat the orange.
But if you
cannot
wanted
do
it
that.
on the orange, now the orange is able to become impure, and if a rodent then falls on the orange, so now the orange is impure, and a Kohen who eats it gets into trouble.
Somebody tell me.
Even today, the example should be with the bunch of people who love the mashke. Same thing.
What's that?
In terms of washing hands, you mean.
Yeah.
Yeah, but none of us do that. We don't wash hands for fruits that are rinsed or vegetables that are rinsed. Do you do that? Do you wash your hands before you eat?
Without a brush. If it's wet.
If you have grapes and you wash the grapes, you'll wash your hands before you eat the grapes?
Without a brush.
Beautiful. Yeah, we the Ashkenazim, we don't do it too much.
Some rabbis say yes, some rabbis say no.
Yes, some say you should, but most of us don't. That's nice. Okay, next discussion. Rabbi Shimon ben Lakish. Rabbi Shimon ben Lakish asked a question. This is a Gemara that we had back in Menachos. And again, we're talking about things that are able to become impure. We said that if something is rinsed off by a liquid, that makes it able to become impure. Now we're going to introduce a new concept of what makes things able to become impure, and that is the fact that it is holy. Chibas HaKodesh. The fact that it is holy makes it able to become impure. So what happens when you have tsarit shel menachos? So you have dry flour of a karban mincha. So it has holiness because it's part of a karban mincha, but it's dry. It was never rinsed. So there is a concept of chibas HaKodesh. So how does that work? Where a dead rodent to fall on it without question, you'd have to burn it. It itself would become disqualified by a dead rodent. But when we say that because it's holy, that makes it able to become impure, does that mean that it's fully able to become impure? That if a dead rodent falls on it, it becomes a rishon, and if it touches something else, it'll make that other thing into a sheni. Does it become impure that it can now, fit into the whole role, into the hierarchy of impurity, or do we say no, that there's a special law of chibas HaKodesh, because it was holy, it has the ability to become impure, that it has to be destroyed, but not that it can transmit rishon and sheni. That's the question. Kimanya chibas HaKodesh, when we have this concept that chibas HaKodesh, the affection for the sacred, is the equivalent of something being rinsed off, that means lafsule gufi. That means the affection of the sacred is so special that an item which is sacred could become personally disqualified and burned. But lemimni beirishon, but that it should be called a rishon l'tumah, that what it touches makes it into a sheni. That not, or maybe loshon, there's no difference. The same way, if something's mukhshar, something's rinsed off, it now is mimni beirishon v'sheni. If an avatuma falls on it, it becomes a rishon, it touches something else, it makes it into a sheni. The same is true with something being mukhshar by virtue of the fact that it is holy. Rabbi Lezer said, Tashma, come and hear proof. The verse about Hechshem, Yikala Ochel, Asher Yochel, Asher Yavo Olav Mayim, Yitma. From any food that will be eaten that has water come on it, it becomes impure. It's saying water. Ochel Ababa Mayim Mukhshar. It's a food item that went into water that makes it able to become impure. But Ochel Shenu Baba Mayim, but a food item that doesn't go into water, namely dry flour that's in a holy vessel, Lo Uchshar, it's not able to become impure. One second. You think Rav Shimon Lakish doesn't know a pasuk? He knows the pasuk. Rav Shimon Lakish, Rav Shimon Lakish's point was like this. Of course, the pasuk says that what makes things able to become impure is them being washed by water. But Chibas HaKodesh, the fact that there is the affection of the sacred, the fact that something is holy, maybe that makes it dami. Maybe the fact that it is holy makes it as if it was something that was washed by water. Or maybe not. Something washed by water is able to become impure. Something which is holy can be personally disqualified, but not to become impure, to become a rishon, and then to make something into a sheni.
You mean without even being moist?
Without being moist. It had never been moistened. Never been moistened.
That still works.
And still. So the Gemara says, 1 second. Rabbi Lazar's point also is miyitura krai kama. Is based on the fact that there are actually 2 psukim saying that a food item rinsed in water is able to become impure. Because Mechti, take a look. On the one hand it says, if water will be placed on a seed, then if a dead nevela falls on the seed becomes tameh. So it says water has to be placed on the seed. And then you have another verse, any food that's eaten has to come into water and then it can become impure. So Lamali, why do I need a second verse? So now starting Lamed Vav Lamed Beis, must be Lav Lamuti Chibas HaKodesh. The fact that there are 2 verses is to say like this. Water on a seed makes the seed able to become impure. And then the verse says a second time, food that's rinsed is able to become impure to stress. Food that's rinsed is able to become impure, but not food that's holy. Food that's holy becomes personally disqualified, but it doesn't become 1st degree impurity to make something else 2nd degree impurity. The fact that it's repeated is lim'ute, is to exclude Chibas HaKodesh, to exclude that which is sacred. And the sacredness is not enough to make it fully able to become impure, to become 1st degree impurity. So Gemara says, no, that's not the way to understand the 2 verses. Chad b'tumas meis. One verse is saying that for a food item to become impure with the death impurity, with a piece of a dead body falling on it, it had to have been rinsed in water. V'chad, the second verse of why it says a food item rinsed in water is b'tumas sheretz, is that for a dead rodent to make something impure had to be that the food item was first rinsed in water. I need 2 verses. If I would have said that the only way it becomes impurity with the death impurity is if it's first washed off, I would say, there I need to have it washed off in water, because there's a stringency to it. It doesn't have actually leniency to it. It doesn't have the ability to make something impure if it's very, very small, a very, very small amount of a dead body. I mean, a lentil bean size of a dead body, a little piece of a dead body the size of a lentil bean. If that falls on something, it doesn't make it impure. So it has to be bigger. It has to be a kazayas. It has to be at least an olive worth from a dead body. So since it doesn't have the ability of making things impure in small amounts, it also has to be washed off before the impurity can be transmitted. Avil sheretz, when we talk about a dead rodent, which creates impurity, even if the dead rodent is the size of a lentil bean. I might think that he also doesn't need to be first rinsed in order to transmit the impurity. V'yashmin and sheretz, and if we would have had a verse telling us about the impurity of dead rodents, that needs to be washed off before that impurity can enter onto something, I would say because it's not an impurity that lasts for 7 days. It's just an impurity for that afternoon. You go to the mikveh and that night you're tar. Avol meis, but impurity from a dead body, where you're impure for 7 days. Amos, I would say it's so much stricter. I would suggest, maybe you don't even need to rinse it off to create that impurity. So that's why I need 2 verses, but it's not to exclude Chibas HaKodesh. It's to say that I need a verse for Tumas Meis and I need a verse for Tumas Sheretz. Master Rav Yosef challenged the view of Rabbi Lezer. We learned in our Mishnah, Rabbi Shimon says, when you slaughter an animal, there's no blood, huchshru b'shchita. So the meat of the animal now is able to become impure just through the act of slaughtering. Sounds like it's able to become impure. Huchshru, it's able to become impure. Afilu nimni berishon v'sheni. That means that if a dead rodent falls on it, this meat would become a rishon. And if this rishon touches something else, it makes something else into a sheni. But why? But according to your Rabbi Lezer, it has to be food that comes in water. There was no water here. Abaye said back to Rav Yosef, that's not a challenge. That's only a din d'Rabbana. The Oraisa, Rabbi Lezer holds, only water can make something able to become impure. When Rabbi Shimon says that the act of slaughtering makes something able to become impure, that's just meaning midrabbana. Asau kach shemai midrabbana. They're saying that it's as if it was rinsed in water, and rabbinically it's able to become impure. Says Rashi, it's only rabbinic, and therefore v'lo sarfin Allah truma v'kachim naguba. If you would have, according to Rabbi Shimon, who says that the meat became able to become impure, if there was a slaughtering of that meat, and without any blood, and then a rodent falls on the meat, so the meat is only impure rabbinically. Since it's only impure rabbinically, were truma to then touch it, we wouldn't burn the truma. We're not going to burn truma for rabbinic impurity. We're not going to. We just let it sit and rot. We're not going to burn it. This is only a rabbinic law. That's the answer. Rabbi Zera said, I have another problem with where Rabbi Lezer says. Rabbi Lezer says you need to have water to make something able to become impure. I have a problem from a famous lesson about the liquid that dribbles out of grapes. We learned Abotzer Lagas, somebody who's picking grapes because he wants to press the grapes into grape juice or wine. And so when he's picking the grapes, he puts it into a basket, and when they're in the basket, the grapes press on each other, and there's some liquid on the bottom of the basket. So even though there are holes in the basket and the liquid is draining, Shammai says, Huchshar, the grapes have been made able to become impure. Hillel says, Lo Huchshar, that liquid is not making the grapes able to become impure. And we know there's a Gemara Masechta Shabbos that Shammai was able to overrule Hillel. Shasikle Hillel Shammai. Hillel gave in to Shammai. They voted. They said it's able to become impure. Now, but why is this the case? It's not water. It's not a food that would water. And according to you, it's only food rinsed in water that can become impure. Abaye said again the same answer. This is only a rabbinic law. Midrabanan, they're saying that the liquid that dribbles out of grapes is also like water, and therefore it's mukhshar, it's able to become impure, but it's only a rabbinic impurity. You wouldn't burn truma based on this type of impurity. Amar le Rav Yosef, so Rav Yosef said back to him, I challenged you, Rabbi Lezer, from the fact that the Mishnah says that shchita can make something able to become impure. But you answered me, no, that's not a question, that's only drabanan. The rabbis are making it like water. Reb Zera challenged you from the fact that we see that, the liquid coming out of grapes makes things able to become impure. You told Reb Zera also, that's only drabanan. So 1 second. Rish Lakish is drabanan. The Rish Lakish, the Reb Shimon ben Lakish nami. According to Rish Lakish, when he talks about chibas hakodesh, the sacredness, the affection of the sacred, making something able to become impure, maybe it's a su'ukech shemayim. Maybe it's a drabanan. Amalei, so he said back to him, Atu Reb Shimon ben Lakish, litlos kami baile. You think Reb Shimon ben Lakish's point was about a suffix to create a situation where we have to maybe just wait because we're not sure, because on a rabbinic level it's impure? No, I know that Reb Shimon ben Lakish, everybody agrees that holiness makes it able to become impure on at least a rabbinic level. Reb Shimon ben Lakish was asking about further. Ki kami baile lisro. Reb Shimon ben Lakish's question, if we count a Rishon or a Sheni because of the holy, would be in order to burn Truma or to burn Kodesh that touches these things that are a Sheni because they touched a Rishon, being the Rishon was that a rodent had fallen onto the dry flour of a mincha. That was his question. About burning Truma, about burning Kodshim. That was his question. So Michlal. So 1 second. You're saying that according to Rish Lakish, Chibas HaKodesh is Doraisa. The idea that something sacred is able to become impure is a biblical law. And then you're asking, is it a biblical law that the sacred just gets ruined itself, or is it a biblical law so much, is the biblical law saying that it can actually make Sheni and Rishi and all the different levels? So where's the verse saying that the sacred makes something able to become impure? So if you're going to tell me midichtiv, it's from the fact that the verse says habasar about karbanos. Habasar sure you got b'chol tamei lo yachel, and the meat that'll touch anything tamei can't be eaten. Hi basar diskasher b'mai. What made this meat able to become tamei? Ilim diskasher b'dam. If it became tamei through the blood of its shchita. The blood of a carbon doesn't make something able to become impure. Because the verse says, "Lo tochlenu," don't eat blood. Pour it on the water pour it on the ground like water. So that teaches you dam, the blood of chulin, which is nishbach kamayim, which is poured on the floor. That's machshir. That has the ability to make something able to become impure. But nishbach kamayim, but blood of karbanos, which doesn't go on the floor, it goes onto the mizbeach. Eno machshir doesn't have the ability to make something impure. So what made a carbon able to become impure? Oh, this kasha of mashke beis hamikdash. Maybe it became impure by the water that was in the beis hamikdash. In the beis hamikdash, they had water because they were cleaning off the meat. They had sinks. Rabbi Zev Reichman says mashke beis hamikdash lo dayan shein dachen. The waters of the beis hamikdash not only are they pure, they're also not able to make things able to become impure, and that's a din d'Rabbanan. It's a din d'Rabbanan that water has impurity, and they suspended the impurity in the Beis Hamikdash. Okay, but here, Tamer, if you're going to tell me Tir G'ma'adam, you're going to say that the blood of the karbanos in the Beis Mikbachaya, which is not going on the Mizbeach, that's what's making something able to become impure. But the language is that all the liquids in the Beis Mikbachayim don't have the ability to make things able to become impure. So what is going to make a carbon able to become impure? The fact that it's holy. And there's an affection to the holy, that's what makes it able to become impure. So it's not a proof. The Dilma maybe can review them or Shmuel. Maybe it's like review the name of Shmuel. Don't review them or Shmuel. Review the name of Shmuel. Let's say a person has a cow that's a shlamim, and he had it walk through a river before he slaughtered it because he wanted the water to make it easier to skin it. And then shachta, then he slaughters it in the Beis Hamikdash. And there's still water from having walked in the river on it, and that's what makes it able to become impure. Elami Sefer. So the source that we know that Chibas HaKodesh is a din d'oraisa, is a biblical law, is from the end of the verse. The verse says, "Habasar asher yiga b'chol tamei lo yachel, ba'esh yisarev," and then it repeats, "V'habasar kol tor yochal basar." Why does it say again the word "v'habasar"? The fact that it says "v'habasar" is to say that everything can become impure, everything in the Beis Hamikdash, the rabos eitzim ulevona, even the wood of the mizbeach and the spices that are part of the lechem upon it. Now, eitzim ulevona b'nei achila ninu. Eitzim and levona, are they foods? The whole idea of impurity is that once it's rinsed, it's a full food. But spices aren't a food. Levona, the galbanum, the frankincense, and levona is the frankincense, and the wood is not a food. So how could there be impurity? Ella, what are you going to have to say? Rather, what do you have to say? Chibas HaKodesh machshir lahu. It's the affection for the holy that makes it able. Umashvaya lahu ochel. That's what makes it into a food. Hachanami, so to Chibas HaKodesh machshir rasa. So too the affection of the holy makes it able to become impure. And that's the question of Rish Lakish. What's the nature of this law that because it's sacred, it's able to become impure? When we say that because it's sacred, it's able to become impure, and that's from the word v'habasar, is it that it's able to become lipsula de gufe, it's able to become personally disqualified? But if a dead rodent falls on it to make the dry flour rishon, so that it can make something else a sheni, that not. Lo, or maybe lo shna. Maybe once it's able to become impure, based on the word v'habasar, it's able to become impure the same way something which is rinsed is able to become impure. And if a dead rodent falls on it, it becomes a rishon, and what it touches will become a sheni, and we would burn truma based on that sheni touching truma. Teiku, we don't know the answer. We have to wait for Leo Hanavi to give us the answer. Rabbi Chananya ben Akasha, Meretz HaKadosh Baruch Hu, L'zakas es Yisrael, L'fi chachir b'lem Torah, Mitzvah shenemar, Adonai chafetz l'man tzidko yagdil to Rabbi Adir.